What's up, guys? Nolan here. We're gonna go unscripted with this because every time I script a video, it puts the vibe of the video on rails, and I want to do it differently with this one so that you guys can understand my vibe and my feeling on this in general. Because this is not good. This is very not good. And if we want to go in the TLDR, which we'll just do right now, it's very not good for games that use the Unity engine. And thankfully, we do have a response from Gary Newman, who, aka that is Rust. That's the lead dev of Rust. That's the creator of Rust. We do have a response from him, so we can have some insight onto this. And the reason why I'm a day late on this is because I wanted to get my full take on it. And for those that don't know, I worked in games before COVID, so I went around and I asked all my friends that I still have in the industry, and they went to work and they really got a lot of takes. And actually, they probably didn't necessarily go to work. They're probably already talking about this with their friends in the studios and whatnot. But I got a lot of this information. What I'm looking at right now from Gary Newman was from one of them. So again, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Andrew, Dana, and Jamal. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the help. In case you guys are watching, really appreciate the help and the info that you guys got me, along with some screenshots and stuff like this, which we'll go through that in a minute. Again, TLDR. Sorry about that. Not good for games on Unity. Might end up being okay for Escape from Tarkov. Seems to be okay for Rust. And that's why I'm going to kind of go through this with the vibe that things are probably going to be okay with Escape from Tarkov because it is a popular game. And the reason why I am saying that, a very popular game, we have to put it in that bracket specifically. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we do have a response and we do have an understanding of how a very popular game that isn't subscription-based is taking this, because we have this response from Gary Newman with Rust. So if Rust is something to go off of, which in my opinion it is, then and Rust is going to be okay from this, then I am saying that Escape from Tarkov is probably going to be okay as well. And that is without a comment from BSG. I've gone to every single source that I have inside BSG, including Nikita himself. Every single person said that they do not want to comment on this at the moment. And it's a tough one. So the situation here, and that was the TLDR. That's pretty much all you need to know. Not good. If the game runs on Unity, not good. It probably won't. And the next game very, very likely won't. And the only good news, the only thing that is good that can come from this is if any point in the future we hear something along the lines of Unity has changed their mind, Unity has rolled back, Unity has decided to not do the thing, Unity has decided not to do this. That's the only good that can come from it in general. Good side of this is possibly, luckily for us, Escape from Tarkov is popular enough and making enough money that it isn't going to affect them as much, and they're going to be okay throughout the future, and they'll continue doing what they're doing. However, I will say, slight possibility, even though the price increase is already coming, they might already increase it a bit more because of how this works. So now to get into the brass tacks of things, I will use this as an example here. I don't actually know what game this is. So Aggro Crab here, whatever game this is, whatever publisher this is, whatever it is here, they really kind of sum it up quite well here. So we'll just go off of this. Hey gamers, today Unity, the engine that we use to make our games, announced that they'll soon be taking a fee from developers for every copy of the game installed over a certain threshold, regardless of how that copy was obtained. Guess who has a somewhat highly anticipated game coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2024? That's right, it's us, and a lot of other developers. That means another Crab's Treasure will be free to install for 25 million Game Pass subscribers. If a fraction of those users download our game, Unity could take a fee that puts an enormous dent in our income and threatens the sustainability of our business. And that's before we even think about sales on other platforms, pirated installs of our game, or even multiple installs by the same user. This decision puts us and countless other studios in a position where we might not be able to justify using Unity for our future titles. If these changes aren't rolled back, we'll be heavily considering abandoning our wealth of Unity expertise we've accumulated over the years and starting from scratch in a new engine, which is really something that we'd rather not do. On behalf of the dev community, we're calling on Unity to reverse the latest in a string of short-sighted decisions that seem to prioritize shareholders over their product's actual users. I fucking hate it here. And that seems to be the case right now with all developers, especially indie developers, especially free-to-play developers that are using Unity for their engine. They're using the Unity game engine. And there's already lots of different little quotes and stuff like that from developers who are saying, you know what, we're not that far in development. Screw this. I don't even care if they roll this back. We're going to switch over to Unreal today. So sorry for the delay, but this is completely on Unity. However, what's really important here, and this is why a lot of this comes up, and it's the exact same situation that BSG are in with Unity right now, is I can't, this is a picture, so I can't actually highlight this, but this is what's important here. If these changes aren't rolled back, we'll be heavily considering abandoning our wealth of Unity expertise that we've accumulated over the years and starting from scratch. That is what the boat that BSG are in. Before Escape from Tarkov, Contract Wars, and Hired Ops, these were just browser games, but they were also built on Unity. And this was the same situation that I was in my studio when I worked in games, that we wanted to move to Unreal. Everybody likes Unreal over Unity. Pretty much everybody, especially if you're not making a mobile game. A lot of mobile games use Unity. But it comes down to what you have on hand. It comes down to what you know. So if your engineers and if everybody in the company, or the majority of the people in the company, or at least the majority of the people that really matter in the company in terms of making your game, know Unity, really trust Unity, understand working in Unity, have gained expertise that they've accumulated over the years, and it could be decades with Unity now, you're going to go with Unity. Because if anything pops up, you're going to know what to do and you're going to be able to fix it. It's just the more intelligent thing to do. Instead of starting from scratch, you just stick with what you know, really. And that's not the case anymore, because now it puts your income in danger. Going to the next quote here, we have Over the Moon Games. Hey, Unity, our game The Fall was on the Epic Games, I'm assuming Epic Games launcher or store, as a free game. I was quite happy to sell them the rights for peanuts, and the game was installed like 7 million times. How do you propose this will work? I owe you more money than I've made in my entire life. And that is if all 7 million people that have downloaded the game actually install it. Because this development, or the studio, sorry, Over the Moon Games, have already made the money that they could make by selling this to Epic Games. If all 7 million people install that game, and if this sticks through, if this actually sticks, if the system that Unity are thinking about putting into place, the one that we just discussed, goes through, they would owe Unity money for those installs. And they don't have it. That's just not available. That's not how this works. So, again, for games like Escape from Tarkov, for games like Rust, it doesn't seem to be a problem because they've made enough money and they've had enough installs and whatnot. And it seems to be because they're live service games. They're continuing to push out updates. They're continuing to get new purchases and stuff like that, especially in the case of cheaters. It seems that they'll be okay. But it's not the case for indie games. If you guys are following an indie game, if you're following a free-to-play game, if you're following any game that's in development really now, and especially if they're early days in development and they're using the Unity engine, chances are if they don't roll this back, I mean, even if they do roll this back, it seems probably already today, they're not going to be using Unity anymore. So that's what we're working with here. We already have cases where, like Cult of the Lamb, if you guys know the game Cult of the Lamb, they're saying that they're going to delete their game. They're saying that if this isn't reversed, they are going to straight up delete their game on January 1st, because that's when this is supposed to take place. Effective January 1st are the changes that we've been talking about. We'll go through another couple quotes and then we'll end with Gary Newman here. For example, here's a fun thought experiment for Unity's new pricing model. If you made a game that just reached $200,000 in revenue at a 50-50 publisher split, and you decide to support, say, this charity bundle for racial justice, you'd end up being $60,000 in debt. Because keeping in mind, a cut goes to Unity when they purchase the rights to use the engine for their game, and then if you use a publisher, then 50% goes to the publisher if that's the case. It could be 30%. It's probably 50%. Publishers are obviously very important. Could even be 70% for some of these games. For some of these indie games, the publisher is really what makes the game popular. In some of the cases for these indie games and these free-to-play games and small team games, small studio games, stuff like that. So that's money that needs to go to the publisher anyway, and you could end up being $60,000 in debt if you need to end up doing that. That's very real. Also consider 900,000 people own our game Gunhouse on itch.io. And then remember, this isn't just Steam. This is any game anywhere that uses Unity. People own our game Gunhouse on itch.io. 900,000 people own our game Gunhouse on itch.io and have not yet installed it. We donated the game to the Ukraine bundle that we organized, so a lot of folks got it as part of that. If they all activated their copies of this game that we have not made any revenue on since 2017, well, we'd go bankrupt. And that's true. That's the case with a lot of people out there. And we already went over this quote here. And we already went over Calls of the Lamb stuff. I'll leave this linked in the description so that you guys can get the specifics. And this is directly from Unity. So this is the, right from the, what's the phrase here? Is it the mouth of the horse or something like that? I don't know. But this is directly from Unity. So this is where you can get the best information on this. Escape from Tarkov easily clears all of this, and it would end up being cents for them, but that's per install. So even though it's cents per install, think of all the times that you personally have in between wipes uninstalled Escape from Tarkov, and then you install it when a new event pops up, or you install it when it's pre-wipe, or you definitely install it when it's a new wipe. Each time that you install that, each time that every single person installs, just install, you don't even need to play it. That's money that BSG is going to owe Unity. And I am in this boat. I'm sure I know tens of thousands of people are in this boat, and then also hundreds of thousands of people are in a similar boat where you have not paid. I personally have not paid money, a single cent, to BSG since 2017 or 2016. And I'm sure all of you guys listening, you probably bought the game back in 2020. You bought the game years ago. You have not paid a cent since then. However, if you go and you install that game when this change comes into place, BSG are going to need to pay Unity money. That's what this is. I've heard rumors, I've heard discussion about that not being the case for certain games where anything that involves popularity, Escape from Tarkov would very likely fit into that category. Rust would very likely fit into that category. I'm sure there's a couple other games. If you guys know of any other very popular games that use Unity, I'd like to know. So put in the comments or let me know so I can track that stuff. It's possible that it doesn't affect them that much. But that is the case. That is what they are deciding to do here. I've heard rumors that it might not include reinstallations. It's just the first installation. But again, that's not rumors. I'm not seeing anything specific on here yet. Hell, even as I'm reading this, there could be something around on the screen right now, but we're not seeing this because it has been updated. This is the one to keep an eye on, and I'll leave a link in the description. But let's go to Gary Newman here, who is Rust. This is Rust's perspective, which is a very popular, non-subscription based, because it's one-time purchase, game that is run on Unity. So because we don't have a quote from BSG, because we don't have any comment from BSG, this is the best thing that we can go off of right now. And as it is right now, I'm going to assume that this is going to be the same take that BSG are in with Escape from Tarkov, because they're in the same boat as Rust. I don't know if they're more popular or less popular than Rust. All I know is that Escape from Tarkov is very popular. If we even just take all the people that they banned from July to August, just the people that they banned from July to August, which was 16,600 people, by the way. I mean, that's $750,000 if they just had the base game. I'm sure plenty of them had, EOD and stuff like that were cheating and that were banned. So, we can round that up and let's say $1 million just that month from just the people that they banned. So Escape from Tarkov is definitely over the threshold, and they're definitely making enough money, and it is one-time purchase, so it's very similar to Rust. So let's see what Gary Newman says about this. So Unity can get fucked. Yesterday, Unity announced that starting next year, all games that use their engine will pay a tax per user install. The tax has a high profit threshold before it kicks in, which I think they assumed would make it okay. Over the last 24 hours, there have been many reasons pointed out to us why this is a bad idea. Tracking installs is messy. Piracy, reinstalls, new computers, giveaways, bad actors. There's a lot of reasons why this isn't feasible. It makes you wonder how they could think it's a good idea, and maybe it is a good idea if you think of Unity as a mobile game engine. If you view it through that lens, maybe it makes sense to them. Maybe they forgot about PC gaming again. The cost. Let me be clear. The cost isn't a big issue to us. If everything worked out, the tracking was flawless, and it was 10p per sale, no biggie really. If that's what it costs, then that's what it costs. But that's not why we're furious. It hurts because we did not agree to this. We use the engine because you pay up front and then ship your product. We weren't told that this was going to happen. We weren't warned. We weren't consulted. We have spent 10 years making Rust on Unity's engine. We've paid them every year, and now they're changing the rules. broken trust. Unity has shown its power. We can see what they can and are willing to do. You can't unring that bell. If you'd have asked me last week whether it was in Unity's power to start charging us per sale of our games, I'd have said that that was crazy and no. Surely that's not possible. That would be like Adobe charging all users of Photoshop per image view and trying to invent a system in which they can track and invoice you every month. And not only new images, but all of the images that you've created over the last 20 years. Then automatically invoicing you every month. But that's what happened. And now we know they can do that. And that they're willing to do that. Unity is the worst company to be in charge of the Unity engine. The trust is gone. Retrospect. It's our fault. All of our faults. We sleepwalked into this. We had a ton of warnings. We should have been pressing the eject button when Unity IPO'd in 2020. Every single thing they've done since then has been the exact opposite of what was good for the engine. We had 10 years to make our own engine and never did. I'm sure a lot of other game companies are feeling the same today, including BSG with Escape from Tarkov. Let's not make the same mistake again. Rust 2 definitely won't be a Unity game. And again, as he just said there, that is Rust. That's Gary Newman from Rust. So to cap this off, if we want to use Rust as an example, it might end up being okay for Escape from Tarkov. It might. We have no comment from BSG yet. But if you see anybody out there saying that Tarkov is done, the end of Tarkov, all that stuff, I'm hoping that they'll go into the detail, and I'm hoping that they have the same information that I'm working with so that you don't get a split picture, or whoever hasn't seen this video and has only seen that video doesn't get, a bad picture of exactly what's happening. But very selfishly, in terms of Escape from Tarkov, it seems like it'll probably be okay because we can use Rust as an example. It seems like it's popular enough that it'll probably be okay. What's not okay is all of those indie games, all of those free-to-play games, all of those games that use Unity that are not very popular are in a very bad place. And indie games that are in development right now that are from indie studios that are using Unity are very likely to be delayed because they don't want to have to trust Unity. They don't want to continue with they can't. Financially speaking, they can't trust Unity. And who knows how many are going to get canceled and how many people are going to get laid off because the studio itself isn't going to be able to work with this. So they're going to have to restart. They're going to have to rebuild the engine. They're going to have to rework things. It's not good. It very much is not good. But again, selfishly speaking, it seems like it's going to be okay for Escape from Tarkov, and that's where I'll leave it today. So obviously you're not going to like this video, but if you'd like that, I went, we'll say if you like that, I went unscripted because so that you guys can kind of understand my vibe with this. We'll leave a like on the video. And definitely comment what you think. Sub for more. Check out my other channels for other games right here. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.